What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Today, I was gonna go over my 2018 Chevy Silverado. I've had this truck now, I think I bought it in December of 22. I've put about 40-ish thousand, 45,000 miles on it. I think I bought it with 128,000 miles on it. It now has 169, so y'all can do the math. I don't math very well, but I have had some issues out of it. I recently had some more issues out of it. I had it in the shop for roughly 2 months. I've had it back now for about a month, just less than a month. I have probably 1,500 to 2,000 miles on it now since I've had it back this time. But yeah, I was just gonna go over it a little bit. I mean, everybody's familiar with the Chevy Silverado most likely. This is like I said, 2018 Z71. It has a 5.3 liter in it. But at 138,000 miles is whenever tragedy struck, and I had my first issues out of this thing. I had what it turned out to be was the torque converter went out in this thing, and it just destroyed. It took out the transmission with it. It showed no mercy. I was going from, whenever it actually finally took itself out, I was driving from Jacksonville, North Carolina. I was heading to my wife's grandpa's house in Bolton, North Carolina, and driving through the little town of Burgaw is when this thing met its fate. The transmission temps went up to like 250. It was slipping real bad. I actually drove it, I shut it off, let it cool down, and I actually drove it back home to like 35-ish miles from Burgaw back to my house in Jacksonville that day. And then I called a transmission shop. I think this was on a Friday. Yeah, it was a Friday. I called the transmission shop. They said have it there Monday morning. They'd look at it and get it fixed up for me. So that's what I done. That transmission shop was Crom's Transmission in Jacksonville, North Carolina. This isn't an advertisement for them or anything. They didn't knock anything off my bill or anything. This was obviously almost exactly 2 years ago now. This happened September 23rd, I guess. 22nd, 23rd of 2023 is whenever my transmission went out. Called Crom's up. They said drop it off Monday morning. I did. It had 139,000 miles on it when the transmission went out. I still have all the paperwork for it. I dropped it off. It actually says on here I dropped it off at 10:13 in the morning on September 25th of 2013. They went through this thing. And I actually picked it up the next day at like 2 o'clock. I thought it had the time on here whenever I picked it up. But yeah, I picked this thing up the next day. They pulled this transmission out of this truck, rebuilt the transmission, and they put a new rear main seal in it. At the time, being that we already had the transmission out, they went ahead and knocked out a rear main seal. But yeah, I had my truck back in like 24 hours. I was really amazed. I've had 0 issues out of the transmission since Crom replaced it. I was very, very happy with Crom's transmission. And then that leads to, I haven't had any issues out of it. I've had actually also whenever I had it at Crom's, I done a transfer case service also while it was all apart. They rebuilt the transmission, replaced rear main seal, and done a transfer case service. So that all added up to about $5,300. So, but I have had 0 issues out of it since then, transmission wise. So I've been really happy with it about that. But as everyone now knows from my last video, I live out in California now. I hauled I think like a 14-foot enclosed U-Haul trailer cross country with this thing, full of random stuff. Not too terribly heavy, but decent. all the way across the states, and we've been out here for just over a year now. Back in, I believe January, no, it couldn't have been January. Back in March, I made a Facebook post asking if any of my friends knew of any shops out here in Southern California that could do the DOD or active fuel management delete on this thing, so I could get rid of that system so I wouldn't have any lifter issues, because I know on these trucks that's another failure point, is that system and the and collapsing lifters. I made that post early mid-March, trying to find somewhere. I wanted to go ahead and get it knocked out, get all the DOD stuff deleted out of the truck. Well, that was March, April, May. The first week of June, I was coming home from work. The highway out here that I use, it's very, very busy. And there's a T intersection at the top of a hill. It's kind of blind down one side, so whenever you turn out, you got to get on it. And that's what I done. I turned out and a car topped the hill, so I just laid into it, hammered down onto it for about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so, get up to speed. Once I let off, I heard it. It was ticking. That intersection is about 5 miles up from my house. I got to the house, put it in park, popped the hood, I heard it. Tick, 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 tick. It was ticking bad. I knew immediately what it was, but I ended up, I narrowed down which side it was coming from. It was coming from the passenger side. So I popped the valve cover off, and sure enough, I had a loose rocker. I think it was the number 6 cylinder. I can't remember. I think it was number 6. Had a loose rocker. It was so bad that I pulled the push rod out of the motor. Verified the push rod wasn't bent, so I knew immediately it was collapsed lifter. At that point, I called around. There's a shop right up the road from the house here. Said they could get it in, but it was like 2 weeks before they were able to get it into their shop. So I got it dropped off. I got it dropped off on June 23rd. The afternoon of June 23rd is whenever I got it dropped off to them. They quoted me to do cam kit, the VVT stuff, the push rods, valve springs, the AFM DOD delete kit, which included LS7 lifters, the BTR head gaskets, head bolts, trays, AFM plugs, all the gaskets, everything to do a DOD delete, plus put an aftermarket cam. I went with the Brian Tooley Racing Truck Norris cam, so it's a little bit more aggressive. And then after all the work was done, they dyno tuned it. While it was there, they had it apart. They sent me some pictures. Let me know they thought it needed a valve job. So I said, hey, go ahead, do it. Y'all the professionals, knock out the valve job. I was okay with that. So they had the truck. So I dropped it off June 23rd, and I got the truck back July 23rd. Now you might think, why the heck did it take them a full month to basically do a cam swap and a couple other things on a truck? Well, they were in the process, the week I dropped off my truck, they were in the process of starting to move into a bigger and nicer facility, which was directly across the highway from where their old shop was. They were moving into a facility that was like 3 times bigger. So I understood why it took so long. So I got the truck back the 23rd. I was in a course that was like 70 miles away from the house. So I drove back. I actually picked it up after hours. They left it outside the gate for me. I had an extra key. I picked it up about 7 o'clock on the 23rd. And then the next morning, it sounded good. Everything sounded good. They told me to take it easy. I was fine with that. I took it easy. The next morning, I had to drive back to that course that was 70 miles away or so. So the shop that I picked it up from is like maybe 5 miles away. It's less than 5 miles, but I'll just use 5 miles. I drove it from there to the house. The next morning, I got home at 7:30 that night. The next morning, I left my house at about 5:30 to 5:45. I made it about 20 miles away, and this is what I heard. So as you can imagine, I was not very happy. I wish I would have taken a video after I pulled off the highway. I pulled off on an exit and parked, and I wish I would have videoed what it sounded like, because it progressively got worse. Whenever I pulled over and popped the hood, I smelled oil. I was like, man, what the heck just happened? It sounded like it dropped the valve. That's what I thought had happened. I knew they'd done a valve job on it. It progressively got to where it didn't have any power. I was on the I-5 in California. If anybody knows about the I-5, it's fast paced. Yeah, and I was in one of the far left lanes. I had to get over, I think 4 lanes of traffic to get out. So I still had to use some power to try to get off the highway without getting hit or causing any kind of hazards to anybody else. So I tried to floor it, didn't have any power. So I thought it had dropped the valve, and it could have, I don't know. I immediately messaged them through their messaging system, had to call a tow truck, had a tow truck take it back to them, had to go get a rental vehicle, and because, yeah, I had to go get a rental vehicle and to get to the course, because the course I was at, I couldn't miss any days or they'll drop you from the course. So I made it to the course. It was actually the second day of my course. So I was late, but they were like, they understood basically from what I had going on. Got it back to that shop, and they basically just said, hey, we'll look into it and see what the heck happened. I didn't hear from them for a couple days. I think that happened on a Wednesday. I didn't hear from them the rest of the day, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. So Saturday, I drove up to their shop just to see if it was inside or outside, if it was getting worked on or what the heck was going on. Like I said before, they were in the middle of moving shops. So it just so happened that the gate to the new shop was open that day. So I just went in, I was like, heck, I'm gonna go see what the heck's going on with my truck. Cause I'm actually kind of upset at this point, because I just spent, I'll just tell you what I spent on it. These are California prices now. I had just spent $6,946 to have this thing fixed and put back together. That includes like all parts, labor, dyno tune, lapping the intake and exhaust valves. And I was astonished at the prices, but I mean, it's California, I guess. But so I went in, I drove up in there to see what was going on, if anybody can give me any details on my truck. One of the employees was in there. They told me they were moving things that day while they were there. And he straight up told me that the technician that put the motor together had put one of the head gaskets on backwards. So it basically, what they said was it blocked off the oil passages and maybe a water passage or something, and it wiped out all the bearings in the whole motor. But the owner, great guy, I've talked to him many times. He said they were going to take care of it 100%, which I would expect. But they had the motor out. Their machine shop hadn't moved into the new building yet. All their machines were packed up and they were in the process of moving it. So it actually took from July 28th until September. I think I picked my truck up September, I don't know if the date's on here or not. It's not. September 5th, I think. I think I picked it up September 5th. After everything was said and done. There was a few hiccups here and there. But they ended up going through the whole motor, tore it completely down, all new, everything for bearings and gaskets, the cam kit that I had already paid for. And then it actually, I believe the owner of that shop owns a cylinder head shop also, and they ended up putting 2 brand new heads on the thing. So yeah, I got a fully fresh motor now, and I have about 1,500 miles on it at this point. It's running good. It sounds pretty good. Before they fully refreshed it, because I'm still in the process of trying to get the paperwork for them fully refreshing the motor. For some reason they haven't given it to me yet, but with just the cam swap, it made 301 horsepower on the dyno. That's to the tires. Made 301 to the tire, which, I mean, it's decent for a full-size truck with 33-inch tires. I mean, I'm happy with that. But yeah, that's where we're at this point with it. I'll probably never be able to get rid of it at this point. I freaking have so much money tied into this thing, but it's got a transmission that has roughly 30,000 miles on it. I put about 30,000 the last 2 years, and then the motor has about 1,500-ish, 1,500 to 2,000 miles on it now. It's happy. I think it's pushing through the converter a little bit, like slowing down, going to a stop, and then taking off. It kind of wants to push through the converter some, so I don't know if that's something I need to look into, getting a new converter or getting it back on the dyno and having him work out the kinks if there's already. He done a 500-mile re-inspection on it, and done the break-in oil, changed the oil and all that on it. So I might need to just contact him and throw it back on there, make sure it's still happy. But yeah, we'll get it cranked up here, let y'all listen to it. It chops a little bit after it warms up. This will be a cold start, but it is a mild day. It's about 80 degrees, so get it cranked up, let y'all listen to it. All right, there it was, my 2018 daily driver. I think if y'all stayed for this long, y'all saw the clip of the exhauster. I think there's something broken inside my muffler. I have a 40 series Flowmaster on there. It's dumped right before the axle, as you saw. I think something inside of my muffler's broken. That's why you heard that little bit of rattleness. But I do plan on doing headers, pretty much full exhaust, changing everything out. If y'all have recommendations on what headers I should use on this thing, short tube, long tube, what merge I should go with, and then what y'all recommend going out the back with, which I'm a big fan of dumps. So I really want to go right over the axle and dump it. I think it's a cleaner look out of the back of the truck, not having the tailpipe sticking out, but I'm not opposed to having two pipes out of one side. I'm not really a big fan of dual exhaust for some reason out each side, but yeah, give me your recommendations on what exhaust headers back I should go with. We'll probably do a video on that sometime coming up. But yeah, my 2018 Silverado. Appreciate y'all sticking around and watching. Later.